Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. And today, I thought instead of an unboxing, which I do have a pair of shoes to unbox, and I do have a lot of stuff at the P.O. box that I need to pick up. I was running late on time today anyway, so I figured I would just, we'll talk about some of these shoes that just came off embargo. Embargo is getting weirder and weirder, guys. I just got to tell you. I've been complaining about them a lot over on Threads, and they're not that big a deal, you know? I just like to complain sometimes, I guess. But these are shoes. I think you guys will have some questions. And I actually have a chance today. I ran in the Metaspeed Edge Paris, so we could talk. I have some preliminary thoughts on the shoe, so we could talk about it a little bit more if you guys want. But before we do any of that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the podcast on the audio only version. Hopefully you guys are warm out there, because on my run, I was brutally cold today, which is only the more painful because of the fact that it was so nice yesterday. 70 degrees yesterday for the high, 20 degrees outside for my run today, and it was hella windy. Sustained winds in the 20 miles per hour range, gusts much higher than that. At least it was sunny though. Earlier in the day it was snowing, and it was actually sticking for a little bit too. So wild weather. And yesterday we were at the climbing gym, and we all had to go hide in the locker rooms because there was a touchdown tornado nearby. So crazy weather we're having. Nothing to see here. Nothing to worry about, I guess, right? It's just really wild, unusual weather happening in February. But such is the way things are. So hopefully you are safe and warm and doing okay. That was a little Emily Heller reference there. So, yeah, I hope you're having a good run. Or if it's a commute, hopefully it's a good commute. I could hardly even see driving for parts of my drive yesterday because the weather was so weird. And for everyone else that's watching this later but not live, welcome to the number one place to try and spot the differences between these two shoes. You know? It's like a game. I don't know if you guys did this, but there was a time before smartphones, but after I had turned 21, where we were in bars a lot, I guess. And we'd play Mega Touch. Do you guys remember Mega Touch? It's that little, it looks like, if you were to see it now, it would look like an old computer terminal. But you would play games on it. Would you put in quarters in it? I don't remember how we paid for it, but you'd pay for it and you play games. And one would be like spot all the difference, like highlights for drunk people. And you would drink a whole bunch of beers, and you and your friends would get around this thing, and you would touch it to see where all the different. You touch the screen and be like, that's where it's different on each side. We could play that game right here, right now on Later But Not Live. So welcome to you guys for that. I gotta scroll down and see if anyone remembers Mega Touch. A Rambling Runner here says, all right, this is gonna be great. Rambling Runner apparently was a big Mega Touch fan. And Martha says, it's harder to see the difference in this iteration than the last one. The edge was clearly closer to the ground. Yes, here, let me help you guys out. Here's how you're gonna distinguish between the two. Both I'll show you on these, and this will also help you figure out if you're looking at race photos of ASICS athletes racing in prototype, air quotes. Here's how you can figure out which ones they are. You got to look at the badging, which I think looks super weird and awkward. This black and yellow badging here. That's how you could tell the difference. Like in the previous versions of Edge versus Sky, you could follow along the line of the kind of the creasing of the shoe. It tells you about where the plate position is, and that also indicates which one it is. The Metaspeed Edge has a downward slope of the plate. The Metaspeed Sky always has more of a parallel line. It's a high plate position versus a low plate position. And you could see it by looking at how much yellow there is down here. If there's only a little bit of yellow and it's mostly black, that's the Edge. If there's a lot of yellow, that's the Sky Plus. You can also see it when you flip the shoes around too. See how much difference there is in the yellow. The much more obvious difference though is the outsole colors. So for the Edge, you're looking at the kind of traditional, what we saw last year in both the Sky and Edge, black outsole. And then with the Sky, you've got this pink color with the big cutout on the lateral toe. So those are the ways you're going to be able to see it. And a lot of times when you're looking at race photos, you'll be able to see like the athlete's shoe. You can usually see the crease here really well. Now, on the ones that they've painted to be a little bit of a head fake, you won't see this black and yellow badging, but you can usually tell where the crease is and where the plate is by looking at the shoes. So that's one way, or you could just look at the outsole pattern. Because even the ones that they've rebadged, I'll have to look to see if the color, but I think that they at least kept the notch in or out of the outsole. So that's how I think you would be able to spot the difference between the two. For me, what's exciting is that both of these shoes now do have the same stack height and the same foam. And so you're even more, I feel like ASICS is running like a plate position experiment, just like slowly changing the variable of plate position. So you could really see how that changes how a foam feels and how a foam responds. And now both shoes are the same stack height, 39.5 in the back, 34.5 in the front, 5 millimeter drop for both. The only difference really is the plate position. I believe it's the exact same last too. And so the only difference between these two shoes is the plate position. So pretty cool. Martha says same drop. I believe it's a different drop than last year because I thought last year the Edge had an 8 millimeter drop. I'll have to check the spec sheet and I'll check it for my review. But it has a 5 millimeter drop. So they both have the same drop in between both these shoes. It's just the plate. As far as I can tell, it's just the plate position that's different. You know? Yeah. Wait. CJ says, wait, I thought red was the Edge. No. Sky is the red one. The black one is the Edge. So there we go. Mark Peterson says they should just do it like Puma, right? Edge or Sky really big on the midsole. That's one way to do it. The only other way to really tell, if you don't know the difference in the badging, in like the black and yellow tabs, is by looking at the tongues. It does say it, which one it is on the tongue, you know? But last year it said it on the back, you know? And yeah. Now it is harder to tell. You have to look very closely. You can't tell, I can't tell at running speed, you know, which one it is. But like I can tell, for example, like a Vaporfly versus an Alphafly. I could tell that a mile away, you know, but I can't tell the difference between these two shoes unless I'm watching slow motion or a photo, you know. Eliza says, I'd be doomed if I had both of these shoes at home and they got mixed up. I'll probably end up wearing one of each. No, you would know right away by putting them on. It's very different putting them on. Functionally, the big difference is the rocker. This feels like a very early rocker, whereas this one, there's almost, there's not almost no, but for a racing shoe, there's almost no rocker to this shoe. It's pretty flat all the way through. Some people probably think too flat, but yeah. Yeah. Keep scrolling down. Jake says, wait, so the only difference between the two shoes is plate position? As far as I know. I think there might be difference. I don't know if there's differences in weight. I guess I should pull up the spec sheets and look at it. But I think the only difference is the plate position. It makes that big a deal. Well, no, not that. Also the rocker. The rocker is different as well. So there's two big things that change it. And having run in the Metaspeed Sky Edge today, it doesn't have the same flare on this size. It doesn't feel like it has the same flare. Yeah, it's not quite, there is, but it's not as pronounced on the Edge. And so it doesn't feel as narrow through the arch of the shoe to me. So there's a couple of little things. Yeah. CV76, we need to play a rocker drinking game. Yeah. You know what's funny is, or not funny, it was very not funny, but reminds me of the rocker drinking game, is that like I was really hoping that ASICS would be like very quietly trying to, here's what I would have hoped. And here's what I would have done if I was ASICS. I would have like very quietly tried to pretend the whole like cadence and what is it? Cadence runner versus stride runner. I would have very quietly just been like, no, really, a nice way to think of it is heel striker versus forefoot striker, because that seemed the more time I think about these two shoes, the more that seems to be what it is. But I also have a different take on the shoes too. So when it comes to who's picking which shoe for a marathon, like I wouldn't pick the Edge for a marathon. I don't like it for a marathon distance. But it seems like the people that are picking this for the marathon distance, like pros, are heel strikers. And there are many fast heel strikers, but the mechanics are a little bit different. And I remember like ASICS spent a lot of time being like, it's not just heel striking versus forefoot striking. That's not it. And the more and more I think about it, the more it seems to be exactly the case. Zachary Hyman says, Zach, you have to tell me how to say your last name again. I know I'm saying it wrong. But Zach James is saying, everyone is saying here that Believe in the Runs review mentions that the use cases of each seem to have switched from the previous version. I 100% disagree with that. So they feel still very parallel. I think, though, I thought that those guys over there preferred the Edge a little bit last year anyway. No? Am I wrong on that one? But no. I still think the case is going to be that if you're not sure, if one doesn't jump out at you and like, yeah, I hate all these other shoes that are out there, I'm a non-responder to most carbon-plated shoes on the market. If that's you, then maybe consider the Edge. If you're not sure, or if you don't have a strong opinion, you're probably going to go with the Sky. That's how it's always been. I think that's going to continue to be how it is. I wouldn't really recommend, unless you have a very unique set of circumstances, I wouldn't recommend the Edge as a marathon shoe. Okay. Zach said Hymus. Okay. All right. I'm not going to forget it next time. Yeah. And Frank Leholier says, I feel like it would be good marketing to say that a shoe is for heel strikers. I think so too. But maybe they were reluctant to say that before because previously it had a much lower stack height, and it was. I think it kind of seemed like for the people that like miss road flats for marathons. Like I forget, I should learn that guy's name. The guy that won the Osaka Marathon in the Takumi Sen, or like Emily Sisson. I feel like those types of runners who are not normal, they're not common, right? They would have really enjoyed the Metaspeed Edge, like version 1. I'm finding that the Edge Paris to be more enjoyable than any other Edge that I've run in before. But I still feel like this is ASIC's best 5K road shoe for most people. Like if you want to race 5Ks and you want to race in an ASIC shoe, get the Edge. If you want to race a 10K, maybe I'm basically thinking like this works great in all the ways that like a Takumi works. There's just a very different amount of cushion in here. What's the weights though? Should we weigh them? All right. Cosmic Mechanical Michael says, heavy heel striker Matt at Doctors Running loves the Edge, which makes me think I prefer the Sky as a forefoot striker. I strongly prefer the Sky. And here's where I was like, maybe I shouldn't have for a second, I was like, maybe I shouldn't have put out my Metaspeed Sky Paris review. Because looking at the spec sheet, 39.5 mils in the heel, 5 millimeter drop, PIBA foam, aggressive plate position, that kind of sounds like a shoe that I would love, And I'm like, was I too hasty? But then I just published it anyway. And then I ran in it today and I was like, nope, I'm right. I'm still okay. All right, so let's take a look. We got the Takumi Sen 10. 7.0 ounces. Do you guys want to guess? It's 200 grams exactly. Do you want to guess how many ounces the Metaspeed Edge is? Edge Paris? Let's tuck the laces inside so it's not accidentally leaning on something. 186 grams, guys. 6.6 ounces. So it's lighter than a Takumi. And it's hard to recommend as a 5K racer a $250 shoe. But today I was like, I kind of maybe need to hop into a 5K race. Because I think it'd be fun to race in this. You know what I mean? So, Danny Guglielta says Robbie preferred the Edge. I think. I'm not sure. I know what Robbie. I'm not sure I could predict what Robbie will like. I'm pretty sure I can predict like what Megan Murray would like. I'm pretty sure I can predict what Thomas would like. Robbie, I'm not so sure. You know. Gary Smith says Co hates the Edge. I don't hate the Edge. It's just very much not for me. You know what I mean? But you know, in today's video, I mentioned Sarah Hall. I believe that she raced in the Metaspeed Edge Paris. I think Carolyn Rotich also raced in the Metaspeed Edge Paris, and Lindsay Flanagan. Yeah, so I think so. Oh, and I think Elkanah Kabet also. And Elkanah loves the Super Blast. So that was a surprise. So there's a lot of people that do like the Edge. And I think more people will like the Edge than ever. It's still not me. Not for a marathon. Not for me. You know? Lawrence Haas says, there's a stigma for heel striking, so I could see why companies don't market their shoes that way. Oh, that's certainly true. True. Mark says, my thoughts exactly, Lawrence. Yeah. I could see that. But you could be like Island of Misfit Toys and be like, come on over, guys. We got the shoe for you. You know? Daniel Burton had a good guess. 6.7 ounces for the Metaspeed Edge. You were off by a little bit. A lot of you guys had good guesses. Andrew Cho said 185. Matt Byer said 6.5 ounces. Andrea Patterson said 12 ounces. That's funny. Shannon says, "Co, you should have Bob back on the live stream and explain these very nuanced shoes again." Should we bring Bob back in here? Should we be like, Bob, explain yourself? Maybe we get Paul. Asics Paul. There's a New Balance Paul too. You know that? There's a New Balance Paul and an Asics Paul. Asics Paul was on loan. He was on like a student exchange program. He was in Japan for like a couple months, and then he's back. He was back and he gave us the walkthrough for the Edge and Sky. That was the secret event that I went to in Orlando. So, yeah. Tails and Mileto says, shoe question. What shoe would you recommend for first-time marathoner? She has done various 21K, might be doing 4.5 to 5 hours on her first marathon. I would say if she really likes the shoe that she's been running in for the 21K for her half marathon races, I would probably stay with that. That's probably going to be a really good choice for that runner. So without knowing what those are, it's kind of hard to make recommendations. But like just broadly speaking, I feel like the New Balance SC Elite series is generally pretty friendly for a wide range of runners. But at that range of time, you're also looking at, you're going to be on your feet for a while. So I feel like the Deviate Nitro 2 is going to be a great choice. Endorphin Speed 3, if that shoe works for you, is going to be a good choice as well. So those are some good options without knowing more about the runner. Joe Carter says, hey, Co, is the Edge not softer than the Sky? Yeah, so we have to get into a discussion about soft again. So I talked about it's weird to explain soft in a shoe video, which is what I had to do for the Metaspeed Sky Paris review. The foam is the same, right? So the foam should be similarly soft, but the plate position affects how your foot perceives the compression. It also can make it more or less stable. And so a more aggressive angled position will make the shoe more stable. And so it feels less soft to me in the same way, in the way that I run in it. The only time that the edge feels less not soft, wait a minute. The edge feels great for me at 5K pace, at 10K pace. That's where it feels great. Guys, by the way, Friday, I looked ahead on my marathon training plan. You guys know I've been getting coached by Sage and Sandy. Friday is a 6x6 threshold day. I'm going to bring the edge with me, just so you guys know. I'm super excited just to run 6x6s. It's my favorite workout, but I'm going to bring the edge. So we'll see how it works. I have a feeling I'm going to like it at 6x6 for the 6x6 workout. I just think that at marathon pace, I feel like it kind of slaps funny for the way my foot hits. So I don't like it at marathon efforts. I ran like a lot of easy miles in it today as part of my run, and it just made my arches tired a little bit because it's just not. I'm not jiving with it, you know. Daniel Burton says Megan liked the edge, which was a surprise to me. Although I think she liked the edge more last year. Am I wrong? Fiona 1977 says that Robbie is a free spirit. He certainly is. Robbie likes what Robbie likes, you know. So. And Joe Carter says, Co hates the edge and the Boston 12. You know what? Here's the thing that unites both of those shoes, other than the fact that I'm not like super hot on either one. I think they're both marketed weirdly, you know? There might be certain parts of the world that prefer the feeling of the edge. And so I don't think it's not going to be as popular in the United States. I'd actually be surprised if it gets carried in a lot of running retail in the US, the edge. And I think that if ASICS was like, we made a tall stack height 5K road racer or 5K, 10K road racer competes with the Takumi Sen, you know, I'd be like, boom, perfect. If they can make it 180, you know, and call it a 5K, 10K racer, man, it'd be fantastic. It is fantastic. I don't like it at marathons. So like it's confusing to me when it's like that. And then the Boston is not like a Boston. Unless you're just going to change and like maybe this is part of a 4-year campaign to change what Boston means. I feel like they have to change the marathon itself too, but you know, they're just going to change what we anticipate a Boston is as far as the shoes go. So that's kind of where I am. Kuvang says, just based off of feel, would you say your PR at Tokyo would have been better with the Paris or plus or the same? I don't know. Good question. I'd like to think that it'd been better with the Paris because I do like the shoe quite a bit. And I feel like it's less top end aggressive, but more like for like cruising at that marathon effort, you know? Cruising and marathon effort seems like a weird way to put it, but if you think about it, it's kind of marathon effort is moderate pace, you know, and so I feel like it's better suited for that. So it's like less like guttural excitement, you know, but more like I think this is exactly what I need. In the same way that like if you're looking at the Alpha Fly, I think most people will agree that the Vaporfly is a faster shoe, but most people gravitate toward the Alpha Fly for the marathon. So I feel like there needs to be a little bit of trade-off. Maybe there doesn't need to be, but right now there still seems to be, you know. Danny Guglielmo says, is the reason you don't like the edge of the full marathon shoe is it's not soft enough? I'm thinking it's best for me as a midfoot, heel foot striker. It just feels awkward to me. I think the plate position makes the foam feel not as soft as it could be. It makes the foam, for me, feel not as responsive as it could be until I'm on my toes in it, which is typically where you feel the least amount of the carbon plate's impact, I think. You know, if you're all the way up here, depending on where the plate ends, you might not be, I'm not sure exactly where the plate ends, but you might not even be on a lot of the plate and you're feeling just foam. And so, you know, that's why I feel like It feels like a much more stable shoe. It doesn't give me the amount of bounce that I want. It doesn't give it to me in the timing that I want it. So it's just, I'm not saying it's a bad shoe. It just really doesn't align with my preferences. Like very strongly, it doesn't align with my preferences, you know? Paul says, she's getting so late. Soon Code's going to need this Snoop Dogg. You want me to get some triple beams in here? Okay. I used to have one for work, but like at the lab, you know, but it's been a long time since I used one. Average Running says, do you think the foam feels more similar to Alpha Fly 3 or the Vaporfly 3? You know what's weird is you wrote AP3, and I guess that makes sense because Alpha is ALPHA, but it just threw me off for a second there because it's still Alpha Fly F, but I understand what you're saying. You know, I tried them both on again yesterday, just kind of like walking around in the basement before I kind of like hit publish on the video. And it's really hard. Well, for the Vaporfly 3, it's still, the Vaporfly 3 still feels really different in terms of the foam. And part of me is like, how much of this is plate position and how much, or plate thickness, and how much is foam? You still have to kind of discern that a little bit. The Vaporfly 3 feels like it still has more squish on the way down. And then the return, it doesn't feel like it's a mirror. It feels like it still snaps back quick, but it squishes slower. So I feel like I'm really crunching it a lot, which I think a lot of people is why they enjoy the Vaporfly 3 so much. But I also feel like, or maybe there's not as much time at the bottom of it, and then before it goes back. I'm not sure. I've been trying to figure that out. I mean, mentally, I'm still working on it. But with the Alpha Fly 3, it's really hard to tell because as far as I know, it's the same foam in both of the shoes. It could be different. They could just be all calling it all Zoom X and who knows what it is. But the such predominant thing that you're feeling in the Alpha Fly is the Zoom airbags. So it's hard to really say like this foam feels different, right? The overall experience is very different. Again, with the Alpha Fly, you're squishing a lot before, and there's a lot of movement to that shoe. And so that's still feels very different than the foam that's in either the Sky or the Edge. Patrick Smith says, I got the previous Edge due to the 8mm drop, but after a few PBs at 5K and 10K, I would never race anything over 10K with it. See, that's kind of how I felt about the last year's Edge too. All right, let me scroll down. I'm right behind you guys. Mark says, what color bandit socks were you wearing with the Metaspeed in your reel? Look really close to the color of the shoe, like orange red, but they only sell nutmeg and dark cherry. Those were a special, they came in the box. So we went to that event in Orlando. We didn't get to keep the shoes at the time. We got to try them on, but we did get a pair of socks. So those were the socks that we put on. So they're color matched from Bandit to match these shoes, this upper, which I'm looking at it on the camera now. It's showing up much more red and like a candy pink almost. But they have more of an orange tint to it in real life. So if you are familiar with the original Meta Racer, that's like almost pure orange, not a Halloween orange, but it's orange. And this is closer to that than it is the pink that's showing up on the screen. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know how to fix it. But yeah, the orange red is right. Probably a best description for it. And there's a color matched option. Now, I think that when they did the Nova Blast, they also did a color matched thing if you bought it from like the New York Marathon, because they did a drop at the New York Marathon Expo. And so my Nova Blasts are over there on the floor, but because I'm doing the Mach 6 video. But that like neon green color, is that neon green? Highlighter green? Whatever color the Nova Blasts were. These colors are driving me crazy. whatever color the Nova Blasts were, they had a pair of white Bandit socks that had that same color for the Bandit word mark. And that's the same ones we got, but for this color of the Metaspeeds. So that's where it came from. Zach Hymus says, I think I got it right that time. Zachary Hymus says, what does the Magic Speed 3 ride closest to? Sky or Edge? It's closer to an Edge. It's very close to last year's Edge. It's now quite different than this year's Edge, but much closer to last year's Edge. Lala P says, my favorite colorway is the orange sky version when you ran LA Marathon with. Where's that one? That's right here. That's this one right here. This was a good one. This was a good one. It's weird to think that this was the sky. But yeah. This is a sky, right? I don't think I had an Edge in this color. I think this is the one I ran LA in. Yeah. Here's the Edge from last year. All right, compare that to the sky from last year. Uh-oh, someone is texting me. Okay. Just want to make sure, like, sometimes ASICS is listening, you know? And I'm like, am I saying something wrong here? Maybe I'm giving wrong information, but no. Okay. So here's like the difference. You could see there's actually the same like foam shape in both, but see how there's like kind of like a line above the word turbo and a line below. That's kind of where the plates were. So this is a difference. There was a lot more foam in the sky than the Edge. Last year, this year it's the same amount. All right. Eric says ASICS. It's not ASICS. It's my manager. Ben Young says, can you reasonably bring the S-Lab Spectre into conversation with the Edge versus Sky? Thanks. I feel like the Spectre would be a good training companion if you enjoy the Sky Plus. Then I feel like if you've got like the way that I use them, I had an 18-mile long run, starting at a little bit faster than easy pace and ending still kind of below, not even as fast as marathon pace, like that kind of long run. Or if I had to do a short workout, I feel like that would be good. I feel like I could do a threshold workout in them just fine. I could feel like I could do an easy run in them just fine. So like, I feel like if you wanted a tempo day shoe, then I suppose with either one, you could bring in the Spectre. You probably prefer it more. Well, I actually think kind of like the Magic Speed 3, it does remind me more of one than the other, but I think you could probably use them as a training companion to either one. So that's how I'd bring it in. And that's why the Spectre makes me so mad sometimes, is because it's like, it's a great shoe, but at 250, it's hard to kind of recommend to people. Just like, you know, I'm suggesting that I really like the Edge Paris as a 5K, 10K racer, but $250 for a 5K, 10K racer seems like a lot, you know? Andrew Cho says, would you put the Sky in the top tier racing shoes of all the racing shoes that came out in the past 3 to 4 months? That's a very specific time frame, but yes. Kevin wants to know, I will be very curious what ASICS does with Super Blast 2. Most brands have toned down their exciting experimental shoe on version 2 and kind of ruined the magic. Yeah, I think that they told me like a sentence about it here and there, but I don't know if I can say anything. So, but yeah, the Super Blast came out 2 New Yorks ago. Am I right? So it's already been quite a while. I don't know. I don't have the Super Blast 2. I don't think I've even seen a Super Blast 2. So I have a feeling like if you like the Super Blast, keep buying the Super Blast. Oh, I don't know anything for sure. You guys have a lot of good questions today. Alex Mariu wants to know, hi from Berlin. Kofuzi, do you know anything about the Magic Speed 4 now that they released a new Magic Speed? Or you mean like the Metaspeed? I don't know anything about Magic Speed 4. So I don't know anything. I can't answer that. And it's not that I have it and I can't tell you. I just don't know anything about Magic Speed 4. I kind of wish Magic Speed felt like the Metaspeed Edge. Or you know what I would love if Magic Speed. See, I think Magic Speed 3 was a fast shoe, but I prefer the concept behind Magic Speed 2. If they could have done that, I like the way that that was set up. But the FF Blast that was in that shoe made it feel, with the plate, I thought was a little bit too much. It was too dense. And so I feel like if they could soften that up just a little bit, maybe they do a PIBA EVA blend and then put a nylon plate in there, or maybe a carbon plate in there. And if that Magic Speed 2 shape can feel like a Deviate Nitro 2, boom, I feel like they've got one of the best tempo shoes and probably a lot of people's favorite shoes. That's where I'd love to see the Magic Speed 4 go. Whether it's going to go that way, nobody asked me about it. No one's ever asked me about the Magic Speed 4, about where it should go. That's where I think it should go. Matt Crackson says, the manager equals waifuzi. No, actually, I have a manager now. And we meet regularly. So, yeah. So that's who that is. Martha says, I seem to get more niggles with ASICS shoes I've had in the past compared to Saucony. So maybe that's something to heed. I mean, I think so. I mean, like, your body knows, right, Martha? So it's like, and you've been doing this long enough, you're experienced enough to know what works for you and what doesn't, you know? A lot of the Saucony shoes, recently, the Saucony shoes all seem to be agreeing with me, except for maybe the Kimbara Pro. I did not like that one. But you know, I'm also a little bit more selective in which Sauconys I'll review. You know, so that's another thing. Yeah. You know what, guys? I think I gotta answer this text. Sorry to do this to you guys. It's always the scheduling stuff. Yeah, so sorry guys. There we go. Calvin says the Super Blast came out in December 2022, right? I thought it launched. I thought people could buy it at the expo at 2022. No, but December or November, either way. So it's been a full year plus a couple of months. So you know. Ooh, Martha wants to know, did anyone apply to New York today? Today, the the lottery opens for New York, right? So, I'm not planning on it. Leon M wants to know, are the rocks during the Tunnel Vision Marathon something to worry about? Don't want to have to stop to take a rock out of my shoes. It's been now like 4 years, almost 5 years since I've run that race. So as long as things haven't changed, I recall there being rocks in the parking lot that were worrisome, like in terms of traction. You know what I mean? It was kind of like running in sand. But that's not the kind of rock that's going to get stuck in your shoes. As far as the rest of the course goes, I ran it in Vaporfly Next Percents. And they were chewed up, but nothing got stuck in my shoes. So there's pokey rocks, you know. But I would still just use a race shoe, you know. Sean Devlin says, the only thing I don't like about the Super Blast is the upper. Trying to cinch the laces down, it's sort of stiff and awkward. I agree. I don't know why it's like that. Because we know ASICS can make a really good upper, right? I mean, like the Meta Racer upper, I keep talking about that. That was really, sorry, this is bothering me visually. I know these shoes are a mess. But sometimes, oh boy. Sometimes it's just out of control. Yeah, man, these shoes are all out of control. I got to go through and fix this later, right? But there's a lot that's bothering me. But yeah, that upper feels very boot-like, right? Yeah, I don't know why. But maybe it's because there's just so much foam to wrangle. They couldn't put in a floppier upper. But it's like, if they could put in the upper that they put on the original Prime X, then you can put in a floppy upper on the Super Blast, you know? Average running wants to know. I think it's because there's a below average running and then now there's average running. Average running says, are you doing any events in London or still too early to know? Still too early right now. Hopefully I would have news after the meeting today, but I don't know if we're having the meeting today. But yeah, so we'll see. Oh, Vanessa Martinez says it's Wednesday. Hello, Good Dog Day. That is right. I totally forgot. It's Hello, Good Dog Day. Everyone go get your dogs. Is Canelo here? Everyone get your dogs. We'll say, and if you guys don't want to listen to me howl at dogs for a couple minutes, you might want to mute for a couple minutes. Go get your dogs. Let me know. Put them in the chat. Put your dog's name in the chat, and I'll start talking to you guys. In the meantime, I'll answer one more question. Calvin says, how would you compare the FF Turbo Plus to the aliphatic TPU of Nitro Elite? That's a great question. I actually find that they are similar, except because for a while I was like, is the Puma Fast R2 a good competitor shoe to the Sky Plus? And for me, I like them both. So in that sense, yes. But like their setup is very different, right? Like the rocker starts really early. It's a big, heavy shoe, but it is fun to run in, and it can handle a variety of paces, I think, better than maybe the Sky Plus can. But will I like it at mile like 23? There's only one way to find out, I guess. So in my mind, there's a lot to consider that's similar here. And it's kind of hard to tell because there's a lot of other things going on with this shoe. I feel like when I try the Deviate Nitro Elite 3, that'll give me a much better sense of how close these foams are. I get this sense that, remember how I used to say the shoes are sometimes sinewy, chewy a little bit? I feel like there's a little bit more chew to the aliphatic TPU. It condenses a lot at the beginning, and then it gets stiffer and stiffer the more it compresses, whereas I feel like the Piba is kind of like consistent until it bottoms, and then it comes back. Does that make sense? So like there's a little bit more like pop to the foam in the aliphatic TPU of Nitro Elite, or the new Nitro Elite. Does that make sense? All right. Davin Peterson brought Gaia and Navi. Gaia, Navi. Oh, look, I think those are these two dogs right here. Oh my God. Gaia, Navi, come here. Oh, are you being good dogs? I think you guys are being very good dogs. Hopefully you guys get to go for a nice long walk today. Oh, did I say a bad word? Oh boy. Fakao says, Mina is here. Mina, come here. Come here, Mina. Oh. Mina. Carrie Smith says, Daisy. Daisy's here. Daisy, where's Daisy? Daisy, go get your toy. Daisy, where's your toy? Did you find your toy? Go get it. Go get the toy, Daisy. Go get it. Richard Wilson says, Lucy is here. Lucy. Come here, girl. Lucy. 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 Come here. And we got Augie. Maddie Mac brought Augie in here. Augie, come here, good boy. Augie, come here. Are you doing okay, Augie? Augie. Good boy. All right. All right. We'll do the last one here. Getting to Run has Dobby, Hugo, and Keto. Oh, I like that. Listening. They're telling me to buy more shoes and treats. Dobby, Hugo, Keto, come here. Everybody get in here. Everybody. Dobby. Who wants treats? Who's got treats? I got to get a little bag to shake a treat to make a shaking treat sound. That'll screw all you guys up. Hugo, good boy. Keto. Keto. Good boy. Good dogs. Everyone's got good dogs. Good dogs, everybody. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for humoring me. All right. Maddie Max says, these are a perfect mix of cringe and complete endearment. And Richard Wilson says, LOL, sorry, but Lucy completely ignored you. That's okay. Calvin says going scorchers with the no words around a dog. Yeah. So walk and treats. Steve Zabrowski says Ko is doing his best doggist noises. He has the best noises. I've commented that on like every other post of his. And I'm trying to learn from him because, you know, he gets the dog's attention. He knows what's up. I have my own set, you know. I do the kissy sounds. My dog always liked the kissy sound. That would piss him off, in fact. He would come over and tackle me if I did the kissy sounds too much. You know, that was always fun. Sean Evans says, imagine someone never having watched a live stream tuning in at the exact moment. Let me tell you what, we just lost about 10% of the viewership at the time of Hello Good Dog. So there we go. But, you know, well, we're having fun. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, but Steve, who I'm in Chicago with, has started his own Dogs on the Run type of account. It's pretty fun. He's found a lot of good dogs on the run. He's taking pictures of the dogs, meeting dogs. I really like it a lot. I'll have to I'll put the link in tomorrow. I'll get the link in the description for tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Let's get back to shoes. Spencer Reek says Rory killed it in the Fast R2. Yeah, he did. He had a great day out there. I think that was his second time, I guess, not racing, but running in a race in them, because he did pace Molly Seidel in Chicago in the Fast R2. So I think he ran 20 miles in it that day at Molly Seidel's race pace. And then he's been doing a lot of his bigger workouts in the Fast R2 as well. So I believe he has the Nitro Elite 3 available to him. But he has, because he's had the Nitro Elites before and he's had the first Fast R before. But he picked the Fast R2, which I don't know. I was like, I can't imagine, like, I'm definitely never going to run the Nitro Elite 3. But then I interviewed Dakota Lindworm and she's like, you know, it's the same foam. It's the aliphatic TPU. She didn't say aliphatic TPU, but she's like, it's the same foam as in the Fast R2. So if you like that one, you're going to like the Nitro Elite 3. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going to have to try that now. So, yeah. Mattern says, and Rory's YouTube is top notch. Yeah, it's a shame. I don't understand. Like, as long as I've been in YouTube, I just don't understand YouTube a lot of the time. I think that algorithm overly emphasizes regular producers or like regular providers. You know what I mean? Like, so if you are consistently putting out decent content, which is kind of like my whole business model, your stuff gets promoted very well by YouTube, which makes sense. But if you are new and all of a sudden make a hit, I feel like on a lot of the other short form social media platforms, it gets carried, right? I don't think it gets carried that as well on YouTube anymore. Like, I feel like his Seville race recap video was excellent. It just doesn't have as many views as it should have based on the caliber of what's in the video and the way it's been edited and put together. And also just generally his channel, the last time I looked, had like 1,300 subscribers, which is also bonkers. Because if you think about it, he's probably putting anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000, like almost maybe per video in terms of production costs. You know what I mean? Because he's not always filming himself. Sometimes a lot of it is with his own filming, you know, but a lot of time it's not. So there's someone going out there to film him. And there's someone that's putting the edit together as well. I don't think it's Rory putting it together. I'm not saying he couldn't, but I don't think that he is. So like the amount of return so far isn't there, and I'm glad that he has the foresight to be like, no, the views don't come and then you decide to pay for it. You have to pay for it, and then the views will come if you're not going to make all the stuff yourself. Which it kind of has me thinking about like the live show that I want to do. Like, this live show is fun and I like it, but the variety show that I'd like to do, I'm always kind of chicken and egg. I'm like, there's no money to pay for it, but if I don't make it first, no one's going to want to pay for it, kind of thing. Calvin says, you know, YouTube wants consistency. Yeah, I think it definitely does. I think it wants it too much though, you know. And Wayne says Rory's pretty new to the game, I think, but super proud of him. And Cam Levin's representing Canada. I would love to see Cam Levins, or like if Cam doesn't want to do it, because the man's running triples, right? So he doesn't have a lot of time. I wish that he would just let someone follow. You know how like you all those like nature videos. There's the shark, and then there's the fish that swim by the shark. He needs to have a little fish that follows him around. I think Rory could use it too, but he kind of has that already. But like, so I just wish someone would follow someone with an endless amount of energy. You could just follow Cam Levins around. Just mic him up. I bet you he's chatty on the long run. The guy runs 3 times a day. He's got to be chatty in the long run. Or maybe he's not. That's why he likes to run 3 times a day. I don't know. Does anyone know? But I wish someone would just follow him around. Maybe I could be that guy. Maybe I'm a little fish. I think I could be a good little fish. Andrew Scott says, does anyone have a pizza recommendation in Boston for this weekend? Trying to think, what's the best pizza I had while I was out there? I don't know. I don't have a good recommendation for you. Michael, I says, it's a koi fish. I see what you did there. All right. All right, guys. I got to start getting ready for my next meeting. So we're going to have to call it for today. I had a good time talking. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for everyone that made it through. I don't think any of the people that left during Hello Good Dog came back. But for all of you who are still here at the end of 50 minutes, I appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully I'll see you guys again tomorrow too. I'm going to go to the P.O. Box tomorrow. We'll get some fun stuff to unbox. We'll talk about it. We can talk about these shoes again too, or any other shoes you want. Because right now, the show is kind of like formless. It's just whatever we feel like doing. And I like it this way for now. So we'll keep doing it tomorrow. Same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks. Bye.